When the last handful of soil falls on the coffin and the mourners slowly walk away, silence takes over. But that silence does not mean nothing is happening. In truth, the story of the grave has only just begun. The ground that looks calm above is full of mysteries below, hidden away from every human eye. It is a world where the coffin, the body, and the soil all begin their final chapter. The very first night in the grave is unlike anything else. The earth presses heavily on the coffin, layer upon layer of soil closing it in. The wood groans under the weight, creaking in the darkness. There is no sound, no light, only the faint shifting of soil as it settles into place. That first night is the moment when the coffin knows it has left the world of the living and entered the world of the unseen. Days pass, and the coffin begins its silent struggle. If it is strong, made of polished wood or even sealed metal, it holds firm for a time. But the earth has patience, and the earth always wins. Little by little, tiny cracks appear. Moisture seeps through the edges. The inside, once dry and preserved, begins to change. The coffin was built to look beautiful at the funeral, polished, shining, and decorated. But underground, there is no glory. The earth slowly strips away its beauty, and nature begins its work. Inside, the body begins its journey of return. At first, it still looks like the person everyone wept for, dressed in fine clothes, hands folded, face peaceful. But slowly, the warmth of life fades into silence. The skin grows pale, then stiff. Within weeks, the transformation begins. Muscles loosen, organs break down, and the quiet process of returning to dust takes its course. It is a reminder of the ancient words, that from dust we came and to dust we shall return. The grave does not remain empty, either. Tiny creatures of the earth, worms, insects, and unseen microbes, find their way inside. They begin their quiet work, the work that has happened for thousands of years. It is nature's cycle, a cycle no human can escape. The ground that once gave food to our tables now receives us back, piece by piece. Though it sounds harsh, it is simply the truth of life. What came from the soil must one day return to it. As months and years pass, the soil tightens its embrace. The coffin weakens further, the wood softening, the nails rusting, the metal corroding. The beautiful box that carried the body with honor now collapses inward. What remains of the body stays longer, for bones last more than flesh, but even they, in time, grow fragile, crumbling into powder. The person who once stood tall, spoke, laughed, and loved, is now fully part of the earth. And above the ground, life continues. Grass begins to grow over the mound. Flowers, planted by loving hands, bloom and then wither. Families visit, bringing fresh flowers, kneeling in prayer, weeping as they speak to the memory of the one they lost. But not every grave is remembered. Some grow lonely, covered with weeds, forgotten as generations move on. Birds perch on the stones, the wind whistles through the trees, and the graveyard becomes a place where silence keeps its secrets. 50 years later, the world above is completely different. The children who once cried at the funeral are now old themselves. Some are even buried in graves of their own. The city expands, the living continue with their lives, and the graveyard becomes crowded with stories. Every headstone, every coffin beneath it, is a silent book in a library of human history. But beneath all of it lies a lesson. What happens to the coffin and the body after burial is not only science, it is a message. It teaches that nothing lasts forever. Beauty, strength, wealth, even titles and power, all return to the same soil. The grave whispers the same truth over and over: while we live, we must live wisely, for in the end, everybody, every coffin, every casket, is received by the same earth. And yet, the story is not only about decay and silence. For many, there is hope even in the grave. Hope that the ground is not the end. Hope that death is not the final chapter. The soil may cover the body, the coffin may collapse, but the memory, the soul, and the faith of many still look beyond the grave. The ground swallows what is earthly, but it cannot swallow the legacy of a life well lived. So when you pass by a graveyard, remember that under every stone is a story. Beneath every name lies the journey of a coffin, the slow fading of a body, and the quiet work of time. But it is not only about what happens to the wood, the nails, or the bones. It is about what the living choose to do with their days before they, too, are carried to that quiet chamber of the earth. For the grave is not only a place of endings. It is a mirror that reflects life itself. It reminds us that while the coffin sleeps beneath the soil, the choices of the living are still being written. And one day, when the soil closes over us as well, our story will join the countless others waiting in silence beneath the ground.